Log into gyroscopeme.com, the hottest online radio station in the world. GS Radio all day, all night, worldwide. Powered by Gyroscope Media Group, LLC.
GS Radio, the best internet radio station worldwide. Providing the best in music and talk shows. Go to www.gsradionj.com and check out the best internet station in the world. You're listening to GS Radio, internet radio station powered by GMG, LLC.
In the beginning, there was Jack, and Jack had a groove. And after a while, a deep sleep fell upon him, and he went looking for a new groove. He began looking for a new nation, and it had to be a soulful nation. And he found it, and it was Soulful House Nation. And he saw a building. It was a tall building. It had 10 stories, and he entered the building and got on the elevator and pushed the 10th floor. But it stopped on the 8th floor. And that's where he found his new groove. And he began to jack and jack and jack and jack. And he knew that this was it. It was Soulful House Nation on the 8th floor. Get ready, get ready, get ready. In the beginning there was Jack, and Jack had a groove. And after a while, a deep sleep fell upon him, and he went looking for a new groove. He began looking for a new nation, and it had to be a soulful nation. And he found it, and it was Soulful House Nation. And he saw a building. It was a tall building. It had 10 stories, and he entered the building and got on the elevator and pushed the 10th floor. But it stopped on the 8th floor. And that's where he found his new groove. And he began to jack and jack and jack and jack. And he knew that this was it. It was Soulful House Nation on the 8th floor. Get ready, get ready, get ready.
Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. I am DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation. I'm coming to you live from the 8th floor. Well, got another good one here. We got another good one here. So, just a quick overview. Go back and check out the interview from last week with DJ Chill X. So make sure you do that. Then the next thing I want to share with you is we're going to play the hottest song according to Track Source. We're going to talk about some upcoming stuff and some stuff that's happened. And then we're going to do a little bit different interview. And it's going to be with me. I'm going to give you my 12 days of Christmas wish list for 2024. So, I invite any comments, share, and we'll go from there. So, with that said, Chuck, let's play the number one song according to Track Source, and that's the one, Feels Like Teen Spirit. back. Get ready, get ready, get ready. So, listen. Let me just share something with you. I just want to let you know this weekend I went to the event, the Red and Black and Red with Chill X, and I had a great time. You know, we had him on last Monday, and he talked about it a little bit. But I went there, and the event was really, really good. The music was really good. Then on top of that, I came in on the tail end of Cream in Philly, and what I saw was good. But also, you need to know they have a new song out called Careless Whisper. Of course, remember George Michael did it years ago back, and I guess that was the 80s, probably in the 90s, somewhere in there. Anyway, but they've done a new version of it. So it's check it out. They've done a good job with it. Then also, too, Kenny Bobian was there, and Kenny Bobian sang, and God bless him. He had just had surgery a couple days before, but as a trooper and a soldier, he came out and did his thing. So everybody was loving that. I posted video. Other people posted video, so go back and check that out. That was good stuff. There's a lot of stuff going to be happening for the new year. You can check on my page. I ask anybody who has anything that they want to share, hit me up. Share. So now what I want to do, I want to play an old school track for a hot moment. But before I do that, I want to tell you, they did that. It was Eric Cupper did that. Did the Smells Like Teen Spirit. But what I want to share with you is that that's a song from the grunge era. Nirvana did it back. I think that was in the early 90s, somewhere in there. Anyway, so I'm an open set DJ when it comes to mobile stuff. And I remember playing that song many, many, many times, and I would literally, especially because I did a lot of suburban as well as the urban stuff, but when I would put that track on, it would set the place on fire. Now, here's what's interesting, is that we all know the track, but we just don't play it everywhere. But I did see it played one time. And I got to tell you, it lit the place on fire. But guess who did it? And maybe he was the one who could pull that off because of the trust in his DJ skills, his music choices, and his willingness to go out on a limb. So this is going back not last year, I think not last year, but maybe the year before, whatever it was. And we were in Linden, and the house set was blazing as usual. And then all of a sudden, Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit comes on, and the place went wild. Now, see, here's what's interesting. So a lot of the music we know, we just don't play it in front of each other. Okay, I'm going to say that again. A lot of the music we know because of our different experiences, the places we go, and the things that we like, but we just don't play it in front of each other. It's just like when people go to church, people who cuss like sailors don't do it in church or the houses of worship. They wait till they get outside. They do that. So it's pretty interesting. So anyway, the person that played this was Beloved. When he put that on, the place went crazy. And it just shows all along that music has this way of transcending cultures, races, religions, creeds. And, you know, good music is good music. So anyway, the fact that that Eric Cupper did that song on, and it shot to number 1 on the Soulful House charts, just goes to show you how good music is good music, but also, too, that everybody knew the song. We just didn't necessarily say it and play it in front of each other. The other thing, too, another track that I want you to be checking for is DJ Irv took another rock song. That's maybe the 70s or 80s. It was by the Police, called Roxanne. And he took that and he made a house track out of it. Forget about it. Straight fire. So all I'm saying is that, good music is good music. And a lot of times we don't mix the genres, that's fine. But let's not act like we don't know. And let's not act like, hey, good music is not good music, because good music is good music. And I just want to note that only because they've found a way to play it, say, in the soulful house environment. And Eric Cupper did a good job with that. So also there's another version out there that I heard. And so just be aware that maybe there's a little trend, or maybe I'm just noticing it, that some of the old songs, the old rock songs, are being reinterpreted, repurposed, and just watch out for it. And you can see if you like it. All right. Let's do this. Let's play our old school track for the week. And then I'm going to come back, and this show is going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to ask you to share. I'm going to be the special guest, and I'm going to give you like my 12, like they say, the 12 gifts of Christmas. I'm going to give you my wish list for 2024, and there's 12 things on that. And so, Chuck, I want to play just a snippet of the old school track of the week. Keep in mind, we're going to play a snippet because Facebook is a nasty, nasty letter habit of shutting us down and muting us out. Before I move on, I just want to give a big, big shout out to King T Finesse, and also to Ariel Shante for putting together our theme song, and also Chuck Roberts of giving us our intro in the beginning. All right, so Chuck, play a little snippet, and then we're going to come back to the show. All right. This is Brighter Days, and it's the underground mix, and you all sweat to it. Okay. We're going to fade it out, ladies and gentlemen, because you know favorites is a nasty habit. This nasty habit of shutting us down and muting us out. Hey, Joy, how you doing? Okay, so I'm going to give you my wish list. And for 2024. Now, like in all wish lists, everything doesn't necessarily come true, but there's nothing wrong with wishing for it and or putting the work with to try to make it happen. In addition to that, they say be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. All right, so let me give you a quick little example. So I just realized this, I would say about a month or two back. So I was born in November 28th. By the way, if you missed my birthday, I don't want you to feel bad because I'm taking late gifts, so don't worry about that. But because of when I was born, I started school earlier than, say, most of my counterparts. So what happened was that put me with the older kids. That put me with the 6-year-olds. So as that happened, there were a lot of benefits to that because I had the advantage of being around kids that were older, more experienced, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I was also the kid that says, no, I'm not 10, I'm 10 and a half. No, I'm 10 and 3/4. I'm 11 and a half. I was that same kid. So what I realized is that being with those older kids, I always wanted to be a little bit older. So fast forward, here I am, just a few years later, because you know I'm a very young man. Now, people older than me in the house music call Uncle Dan, which I love. It's an affectionate term, and I love it. But it's just funny how you can wish for something and it will show up, and sometimes you don't even recognize the way it shows up. It shows up different than you imagined. It shows up differently than you imagine. So, with that said, again, I'm going to give you my 12 wishes for 2024. Here we go. Wish number 1. In my mind, Soulful House, the Soulful House community, therefore Soulful House Nation, should follow suit. That it's more than just the music, it's a community. It's a community. And therefore, we need to talk about community items. So let me just share a couple thoughts on that. So it's a community because we have this core group that when you go to events, you're going to see them. So it's an opportunity to reconnect and network and catch up with everybody. But sometimes if you have conversations beyond the music, you will find out there's other things that are going on in their lives. So, for example, sometimes it's a hardship. Sometimes something really great just happened. Sometimes people just got married. Example, congratulations, Beloved. DJ Beloved just crossed the line. He and his wife, and I just want to say congratulations to them, all the best to them. So, these are other things that are going on in people's lives. And I really want to, going forward in 2024, I want to really look at Soulful House Nation as, let's say, working, till I can think of a better word, in 3 categories. Number 1, health, good health, wealth, good wealth, and relationships, good relationships. So right now, most of our emphasis is on the relationships because, again, we go to events, we love the music, and then we reconnect with our friends, and we've made friends. Some people have gotten married out of the community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So really what I want to bring to it more is that whole community sense as best I can, and taking into consideration that we have more going on than just the music, and then maybe we can talk about some of that other stuff, and I would call that, for lack of a better term, Soulful House Nation, our community. So I'd like to do some things around those topics. Wish number 2. I want to travel to different locations. Hey, Joy, hi, how you doing? I want to travel to more locations. So, like, for the most part, Soulful House Nation has been really Jersey focused. But, okay, let's look at the big picture here. You have at least, 10 scenes. I'll name them off the top of my head that I can name off the top of my head. There's New Jersey, okay, which you could say North and South Jersey. You have New York. You have Baltimore. Then going down, Washington is getting it in to some, because certainly people from Washington come there and certainly have a little scene there. So Baltimore/Washington. You've got Charlotte, North Carolina, which is making it happen down there. They have a scene there. Columbia, South Carolina has a scene. Tampa has a scene. Atlanta has a scene. Then you have Chicago, has a scene. Philly has a scene. Detroit has a scene. Houston has a scene. And now we're starting to hear some rumblings from out in California. So that's not to mention that you have overseas, like the UK has a serious scene. And also South Africa has a serious scene. In addition to that, then I'm hearing more conversations about Dubai. And certainly if you go to Japan, there's a scene. So again, I'm not going to get to all those places on the Keep It Real side. But I certainly want to do at least two things. Get to many places I possibly can, but also to start to contact and work on getting interviews and from those parts of the country, other parts of the country where people are also making it happen. So I'm looking to expand. Hey, there's been talk about documentaries. Well, I've been approached multiple times because I literally have 1,000 hours easy of interviews, video clips, etc., etc., etc. And there's been a lot of conversation that I should write a book, and also too that I should make a documentary, etc., 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 etc. So what I want to tell you is that I'm going to put that on my wish list. All right, they say, you can wish it or dream it, or they say if you can conceive it, believe it, you can achieve it. Okay, I'm going with that flow. By the way, share. So I want to see something that tells our story. And right now, there's some, I'm going to call it there's a DIP, a document in progress, in process. And there's probably a thing. But now here's the difference. If you go to YouTube, you will see documentaries about the house music community, Soulful House, and how it evolved, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, you don't see, they don't keep it soulful through the whole thing. At some point, they evolve into different types of house music, which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm suggesting to you that the Soulful House is the original house music. And of course, now you have Afro House, Gospel House, a tech house song here and there that we play in our community, but mostly with soulful Afro and gospel. And that's good. So I'd like to see something all the way through and through and through around our particular niche, if you want to call it, or genre / niche, whatever you want to call it. So that's on my wished. That's number 3. On my wish list, the next thing, number 4, Deep House Magazine. So I dreamed about it, thought about it, tried to get it going, never could get it off the ground. George Aiken has gotten this thing off the ground. And again, what's really good about it is that he's talking to our local heroes. He's talking to heroes in our community. And you have major publications like DJ Times, and that's a great publication. But really, and then there's other shows that do house music stuff, but it's really not, it's not our music. And let me clarify what I mean by that. In other words, let's say if you go to the local clubs, you're not going to hear some of that stuff that's played in DJ Times. Nothing wrong with it. But I'm saying our music tends to be more soulful, Afro, and gospel. And that's not to say that, he's not going to open it up, because his vision is to open it up and be a worldwide thing. But I'm saying to you now, we need to support that magazine right now, Deep House Magazine. We need to support it. He tells the stories of people that are in our universe. I'm asking you to support the artists. I'm asking you to support the DJs. I'm asking you to support the dancers. But I'm also asking you to support the unsung people in the community. So we see in the event, we see the promoter. We're clear with the promoter. We're very clear about the DJ. We're clear about the artists. And we're clear about the artists. I mean the dancers. But what we don't see so much are some of the unsung heroes. So, for example, we don't see the vendors. Nobody's always asking for vendors, but we don't see, in my opinion, us promoting the vendors at the level we could and should promote them. Because think about this for a minute. Most of the events that are done are independent events. They're not sponsored by the city. They're not sponsored by any major sponsor. They're not sponsored by any service provider. Nothing. Most of these people that put on these events are doing them from Hip National Bank. In other words, they are putting up the money to make these events go. Now, putting up the money, it might seem easy. Hey, listen, I put up an event, no problem. They did it. But know what? Hey, think about this for a minute. So if I decide to put on an event, I got to secure a place. Boom, that's money. Okay. Then I got to get my typically DJ lineup and or artist lineup. Boom, that's money. Depending on the location, there's an application fee. There's and oh, by the way, with the artists and DJs, they typically want deposits. All right, at least up front. They want deposits. Again, the applications fee, there's permits, then there's the security. We'll come to that in a minute. And there's all these things that have to be in place. So they're running a tab already before this thing ever starts. So how do they raise the money? Well, one of the big ways they raise it is with the vendors. So that's why it's important when the vendors come out, they're putting up money to support the vendors. The vendors they play such an integral part in what you're doing. And the fact that you can come out and have fun. All right? And sometimes, many times, it's for free. And sometimes it's like $5 or $10. Now, let's be honest. If you lost $5 or $10, for the most part, if you were in a hurry, would you look for it? Or you wouldn't even look for it. So I'm saying, super important, behind the scenes are the vendors. And I'd like to see us show more support to the vendors. Okay, who else is behind the scenes? Security. Okay, now the two that I know that do security on the regular in our community. Now there's some others, but I don't necessarily know who they are. But Blair and George, those two I see all the time at the events. Now, I need to tell you, we come in, we have a good time, we don't expect anything crazy to happen, and nothing crazy does happen, combination because of the audience. But we do have the security people walking around, making sure everything is calm, making sure that everything is cool, nothing crazy is going on. Security people, under the radar, should be. I think we should herald them. Okay. Another group, the fashion people. Listen, house music has a fashion. Whether you acknowledge it or not, there's a fashion going on. And you could tell because of a lot of the outfits have a certain flow, whether it's baggy pants, whether it's torn up pants, whether it's sweatsuits, the type of shoe gear they wear. You know, it's some of the major companies out there, and we're supporting all that. So, so those are some of the things I'd like to see, and I probably missed something. Oh yeah, let's talk about the political will of these towns. You know, these towns can say yes or no. They could be there with no support, some support. Now, there's some interviews that I have not released yet. For example, I interviewed the mayor of Roselle, Donald Shaw. Now, he's supportive of the house music thing, but he does get some heat. You know, from other people say, "Oh, it's this, it's too I mean, but listen, but he supports it. So, okay. Mayor of Newark, Mr. Mayor Baraka, supports the house thing. Then you have Irvington, EO, and I can just go on. So just understand Roselle, as I mentioned already. Just know that, especially when you use these outdoor venues, you got a whole layer of, I'm going to say, for lack of a better word, so somebody could think of a better word, invisible people who help make these things happen. So I just want to bring some attention to them in that light. Okay, number next. Promote your businesses. Okay, so now listen. Think about this for a minute. Most of the people who are in the house community are not full-time DJs. They have other jobs. Most of the artists that are in the community have other jobs, they have other business, they have side hustles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Most of the dancers don't just dance for a living, they have side hustles, whatever. So what I want to do, to the extent on my wish list, is to help promote, or have a place where we can promote those side hustles or those other things that we do. So, for example, okay, Wally B. Wally B is a promoter, manager, artist management, a producer, but he also has a construction business. He's fully licensed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He can do anything from a small project to building houses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's Wally B. But we don't necessarily know, but this is all going on in our community. So I want to do my best to expose that. Okay, Joy, my niece, has a cooking business. She does cooking. Now, see, maybe just know her from her dancing, but she's got this whole, and hey, and she DJs too. So I'm just saying that I want to the extent that people want you to know, is to let you know that they have other businesses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, aside from what we do and how we get together and show up on the house music side. Okay, number 6. I want to go to a bi-weekly show, at least for a little while. And the reason is because I want to do all these other things with the house music community. And what I'm seeing is that if I do a show, first of all, just give me an idea. It takes 6 to 8 hours to put a show together, just so you know. You say, well, Dan, how could that be? All you got to do, no. First of all, I'm going to just give you a few of the things that need to be done. So first of all, you got to contact the potential guest. All right, so let's say you make that contact. And for me, many times, it's a cold approach. So everybody that you reach out to does not respond. Okay. And some people say they're going to do it, but then something happens, they don't get it done. All right. And you got to constantly be on the search. All right. Number 1. Number 2, now that you got the guest, now you got to put some paperwork together. So for the show, we have what's called a treatment sheet. And the treatment sheet, it lays out what's going to happen during the course of the show. So right now, Chuck, who is our engineer and owner of the station, has the treatment sheet. So he has on there what I'm going to do, the path I'm going to follow. All right? Now, here's what else has to be done. So I need to have conversations. So let's say I book you as a guest, then we need to have a little conversation. And the reason we want to have the conversation because I want to know what's near and dear to the person, and also too, I want to make sure that when all is said and done, the questions I ask put that person in the best possible light. This is not the bash and trash show. So I'm not trying to put people on the spot. I'm not trying to jam people up. I'm trying to do a show that puts people in the best possible light. They can share their information. They can share their gifts. They can share their events, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm looking here for the upliftment. I'm not here to jam anybody up, embarrass anybody, et cetera. So there's some questions and things that go on behind the scenes. Okay, so now we got that done. Now it's time for me to put some questions together. And I want to make sure those questions are, we always do like a before, during, and after. So before is like, tell us a little about you, that kind of stuff like that. You can answer that kind of stuff. But during, okay, so what are you up to? Let's get into what they're doing, their events, that kind of stuff like that. And then, of course, at the end, we're going to close it out and see if there's anything that we missed, and or how you can contact them, support them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, but that's that phase of it. Then I got to do the post. So, I can go on and on and on. But the bottom line is it takes a lot of time to do it. And what I want to do is I want to bring some other elements to the show. Again, with the theme of health, good wealth, and relationships. So it's causing me to say, hey, listen, I need to do some other things with the show and add to it. So we're going to go bi-weekly. Sponsors and commercials. So we're going to seek out sponsors and commercials. We're going to be offering that. You will start to see some commercials next year during the show. And just so you know, you get an idea, Facebook is the least of it, but we're getting in excess of 2,000, between 2,200 and 2,400 views, live views every week. We're on the website, we're on Vimeo, we're on Twitch, we're on X now, what's called X now. We're on Vimeo, YouTube. We're in a lot of places, but we're going to be in a lot more places next year. And so our reach is really, really expanding. And it's so funny too, because when I walk into a place now, for example, they say 8th floor. Okay, we're gonna do something with that too, but you'll see. So sponsors and commercials, we're gonna be looking to do that kind of stuff. Self-promoted, but also too, you'll see some reach out for if you want to do some stuff on the show. All right. Number next. That's 8. Events. We look to do some Soulful House Nation events next year. There's a lot of good events out there, and they all are great. And, there's people out there that feel like, there's too many events, there's too many. Well, my opinion is, who's to say whose event is necessary and whose event's not necessary? I don't think that anybody really... Okay, let me rephrase that. They can say anything they want, but anybody who wants to do something should do it. Period. They should do it. Yeah, you should do it. You should do it because every event is perspective, how somebody sees something. Every event has a convenience factor in terms of location, in terms of access. So, for example, one year I remember there was an event in I think it was East Orange, Irvington, and Jersey City, and some other place. And there was some murmurings about it, but I said, well, you know what? What if you live in Jersey City and don't have access to Newark? What do you do? Do you say, well, I guess I can't do it? Or do you say, you know what? Hey, the event's down the street. I can catch an Uber, a cab, or whatever, or get a ride. I can get there. So, again, I'm just saying that if you want to do something, then you should do it. Now, you got to use wisdom. You know, a lot of times you think that just because you put something together, that people are going to be checking for you. And it's not necessarily the case. Okay, I know firsthand about that. Okay, number one. Number two, I like to lovingly refer to them as the usual suspects, meaning some of the most popular people in our local community. And they put on events, and it's just packed out. But what you don't know and what you don't see is how many events that they did over the course of the years that didn't necessarily turn out the way they want. Now watch this. If you're a baseball player and you're hitting 300, you're Hall of Fame. But keep in mind, you missed 7 out of 10 shots. You got 300. That means you're hitting out 3 out of 10. So just understand that when you're seeing that person who's very successful, understand they've been in the game for years. Understand, hey, when you're willing to do what they did, then fine, you will be where they are. So, but I also say that they all started somewhere. And I'm suggesting to you that if you have something that you want to do, your thinking, your point of view, your perspective, then you should do it. That's it. And we're going to do some events next year. I'm giving you my wish list. Number 9. Okay, so I've got 1 through 9. Here's number 9. Number 9 is new music. I want to introduce a lot of new music. You know, there's classics, there's current stuff, and there's new music. And anything that becomes a hit was new music at one point. Okay? Anything that becomes a classic was current and was a new music at some point. So the question is, who's going to introduce that music? Now, here's the deal. In reality, there's a combination of things that happen. Number one is, in order to make something pop, first of all, it's got to be good. Let's go. That's a given. But a lot of times, it's a matter of who produced it or whose name is on it. The upside of having built a name over time, again, I said over time, you didn't wake up one morning, it was there. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of grinding and staying on top of it, staying in it, etc. That music started out as new music. So therefore, what I want to do is create a path to go from new music to current club favorite to classics. So that's why we're doing the Shazam Free Zone. And let me tell you something. When I do the Shazam Free Zone, I'm very aware that the attendance is going to drop off to little or nothing, especially on Facebook. But I'm okay with that because I know I'm playing new stuff and somebody's going to pick up on it. And we've already had some stuff that we played in the past that I started to hear again. I said, okay, all right. Now, I'm not saying they got it from me. I'm just saying that that current club hits and club classics always start at new music. So I'm going to do my best to introduce more music, and that's in the Shazam Free Zone, where we play it and say it, and you decide whether it's a smash or trash. I'm going to add one other thing to that. You know, sometimes you got to hear something the right way, the right time, etc. So when you make that judgment about a track, hear it a couple times before you decide, hey, this is no good. But again, I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately, whatever, but most of the new music that becomes a hit is because somebody who's well respected in the community played it, and since that person's a trendsetter, people say, oh, that must be hot. Or they hear it multiple times, or they hear it under the right situation. I'm just saying that be open to new music because it all starts out crawling. before it goes into a full stride. Okay, number 10. Okay. I want to market the community. Now, here's what I mean. I do really 3 things when it comes to this: content creator / interviewer. But my background is sales and marketing. And we really have and I've talked about this with other DJs, promoters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In particular, I've been having conversations with Marcus from House to Runway. We've been really vibing and got some really good ideas and some good perspective, great perspective. It's just that, and I've said it like 100 times before. We don't really get the recognition, the financial recognition that we deserve. All right, I did an informal survey a while back, and I found out 2 things. Number one, I'm from Paterson, New Jersey, P-Town, Silk City. I love that place. And within 25 miles of Paterson, there's 175,000 people that are flowing with house music. So there's a whole community right there. There's a whole, I'm going to say, financial universe right there. Okay, the second thing is that I did, again, informal survey. I found out that the average age in this area is in the 50s, and the average income is in the 50s. So if you have a husband and wife, partner, spouse, whatever, in many cases, you're talking 6-figure incomes in a household. And think about this. We travel, and there's no airlines, there's no hotels, there's nobody there typically who can accommodate the travel market that we have in our community. There's nobody there. Okay, second thing. We drive, most of us drive there. There's no car companies, car dealers, car affiliates, auto loan people, auto lease people, insurance people. You know, even if your car's paid off, you got to pay insurance. No repair people. There's nobody there that is saying, hey, listen, I'm recognizing all the dollars you're spending with us. And we haven't called them out on it. Okay, let's keep going. Hey, you know, some people don't want to drive. They want to take a taxi, want to take an Uber, they want to take a Lyft. These people should be contributed to what we're doing. We got bigger and better shows. Okay, let's keep going. Let's talk about healthcare. Hey, somebody might admit it, but if you hit 50, of course, you know, I'm a young man and I don't know what you're talking about, but you hit 50, you got the letter. Okay, what letter? I'm talking about AARP. That's the audience. They should be there. Banks should be there. Lenders. I mean, hey, we have checking accounts, we have savings accounts, we have IRAs, we have all kind of things going. We own real estate. I mean, these people are not there. So, again, on my wish list is to do a better job of marketing our community. In addition to that, I believe we have enough people in the community that could sustain a radio station, or at least a spot in mainstream radio. In other words, right now, if you want to hear something, it's late at night, and you're up late at night because you couldn't sleep. Maybe you're out clubbing. Maybe you're an insomniac, or maybe you work those hours, or maybe you got to take a nappy wappy to be able to be up and stay and listen to Billy Bob, who comes on 1 o'clock in the morning. Are you kidding me? No. I think that we've got to do some stuff along those lines. I like to market the community. So that's my thing here. That's on my wish list. Hey, I want to share. Number 11, I want to share what I know, what I do. And I want to be able to create, I'm going to call it a community pool. I don't mean like swimming, but I mean like a community pool of services. I mean, a lot of us, most of us have, besides our connection to the house music community, we have a lot of skill sets. And I'd like to see us at least have a place where people can at least see our skill sets before they go outside the community. That would be really nice in my mind. So, example, let's say I need a plumber. Instead of going and Google a plumber, I can call Billy Bob, who's in the house music community, who I see every week. And obviously, they got to be, they got to be good and diligent. They can't be, slugs and slugettes. But I mean, like, I'd like to see us. I'd like to see us look in our own community for things of value, and for skill sets and for leads and connections. We're connecting all the time. Again, I'm looking for things that help us build relationships, good health, good wealth. Yeah. And then number 12 is getting younger folks involved. I want to figure out a more active way that we can bring younger people into our culture. Now, we do have some individuals that do it. But what I don't see so much, and I think we had some conversations about it, is getting them to bring their peers into the community. Now, hey, listen. You might say, hey, listen. Hey, I'm in the club, and, grandmother does not want her grandson or her great-grandson seeing her getting it in. Maybe she doesn't want that. But certainly at an open park where everybody's invited, I'm not talking about, hey, maybe it's not the nightclub, but maybe it's the open park. And maybe it's something being done by the city or the township that's open. And/or let's figure out a way to get them to bring their contemporaries with them and bring their peers. So those are the things I'd like to see. And then let me just add one other thing here. I believe the reason most people get attracted is they like the music. And if we like the music, then I think a lot of the focus, or most of the focus, should be on that. Sometimes I hear some disparaging words that are said, and really, it's about the music and having fun. But let me just say one other thing, too. Sometimes you have to give, I'm going to call it, empathetic criticism. But I'm going to suggest to you, you praise in public and criticize in private. So you can not like something or like something that someone did, but I don't really think it's a good idea to bash that person in public. I think because a lot of times they don't even realize the impact they had. They don't even realize that something went wrong. And two, they're not even checking, or whatever they said or did, it wasn't meant at you. And circumstances happen. So I have a friend that's vision is not too good. So unless people are right up on him, he can't see him. And I was there. You didn't speak. You know what? It's not that I didn't mean to speak. I couldn't see you. Okay. Because of my visibility in the community, a lot of people know who I am. Hey, 8th floor, I hear things of that nature. But at the same time, I may not know them. So, or maybe we met and I don't remember your name. So I'm going to ask you to give me some grace and say, hey, I'm Billy Bob or whatever. Or I sometimes have to say, I just come out and say, hey, listen, you know what? I remember your face, but honestly, I don't remember your name. Tell me your name again. I think many of us have had that experience where you know somebody and they speak to you and they call your name and and you're kind of like, so let's be nice to each other. Let's be nice to each other and just understand we have different perspectives, and that this community is big enough to hold all of our point of views. So, there's my my 12 wishes for Christmas plus a bonus. I'm gonna ask next year that we get a lot more done. We're gonna try. No. We're gonna do a lot more. Again, it is a wish list, so I don't know that we're going to get everything done that we want to get done, but at least it's the course we're gonna be following. So, there you have it. Hey, Joy. Hey, Daniel. How you doing? Yeah, so this is going to post, and, any comments you have, whatever. Like to hear your thoughts, and we'll go from there. You can comment online, certainly, but also, too, you can message me, email, contact, whatever. It's all good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go. We're going to go into the Shazam free zone, and we're going to play, I'm going to affectionately call it the no-hit zone. We're not going to go in there and play all hits. I mean, of course I know the hits. Of course I know the club favorites, the club bangers, and the classics, but that's not the purpose of that. So I'm just hoping that you kind of hang out with us a little bit so that you can hear some of the new music coming out, and you can request it when you go out, but more important than that, you can buy the music from, Anyway. All right, so Chuck, we're gonna lead off with a brand new track, and it's by Alton Miller. It's called "Make It," and we're gonna go into the Shazam Free Zone. And we're gonna play until 3:00 and play all new stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, DJ Dan Soulful coming to you live on the 8th floor. Get ready, get ready, get ready.